Hey, Instagram, people on social media, how is everybody? It's been a while. Holistic Health Harry doing a live to you guys today from my bedroom in the UK. Hey Lucas, how are you? I'm in the UK, and today I wanted to jump on to do to continue the interview series, the Instagram interview series, which I started early this year. I want to interview more amazing people for you guys and for me to learn from, because I'm a selfish person. I like connecting with people and learning from them, and I found the best way to learn from people is to do an interview with them. So today I think Shayla's on. Shayla Kumar, who's an amazing human being. I'm going to allow herself to introduce herself, and we're going to connect here. We've connected on Messenger before. I think it's the first time we're going to video chat, which is going to be pretty amazing. We're going to find out all about her, what she's up to, and just another connection with amazing, awesome people that we can all learn from. And it's just so important, guys, to make connections, isn't it? And to keep ourselves motivated on the right path. And that's how we do it, by watching videos and the right information, not the wrong information from people, is amazing. I love it. It's like we do Instagram lives as TV. It's the best. Watching TV is the best, man. Like, this is TV. This is our TV. Instagram lives with people. It's how we do it. Now, let me think here. I've got a request. Shayla, I know you're there, so maybe you can request to join. Or I should press a button here on Instagram too that... how do we do this? How do we do this? Normally, I press... Yes, yes, my friend, I did cut my hair and beard. For money, though. My mum gave me a lot of money. I live with my parents right now. Temporarily, I'm living in Portugal, actually, but temporarily I'm at home holidays. My mum gave me a significant amount of money, $500, about $600, $700, to cut my hair, because she knows I don't want to do it. So I did it for money, so that I can use that money wisely for my Portugal project and for all my higher consciousness purposes. So I say, but it's kind of true. It's very true. Okay, so Shayla, if you're watching this, I tried to accept I've got a button I can press for people that are watching to anyone to request to join, but it says you're unable to join. I wonder why that is. That would be a bit annoying. At the moment, I can see Shayla. I can see some other people that I can accept, but Shayla, it says unable to join. Oh, there we go. I've got it. I've got it. So here's a connection. And Shayla will talk all about what she's up to. She's an awesome human being. She does, like many people, she does a lot of things, not just one thing. She's a master of many things. We're all masters of high consciousness, right?
Yay!
Hey.
Cool. How's it going?
Shayla, yes. Yeah, not too bad, my friend. Not too bad. Here we go. So this is my first time seeing you on video. I'm honoured to be in your presence. I'm sure everyone watching will be too. So, Shayla, tell us about yourself. I've known you for a bit on Facebook, and I did quickly notice for your Instagram. I've always loved your posts and videos, and I know you like yoga, but I know you're not just about yoga. You're so many things. So, describe to the audience what you're about. What's your mission? And yeah, all the stuff about you.
Cool. Thank you so much, Harry, for having me on here. It's been it's been a journey getting to this point of where we're actually having the interview and trusting in divine timing and that everything is unfolding exactly how it's supposed to. So hello, everybody. My name is Shayla. So I run a business called Lion Essence, and basically my mission is to empower all of us to be stepping up in our strength and our power, to be owning who it is we are, to be owning those, inherent gifts that we were given upon incarnation in this life. So yoga is a big part of my life. It's a big part of my practice. And yoga is really like the foundation for me. So if I'm working with people, I work with private clients, assisting and getting people on that journey to being the greatest version of themselves. Foundation work is really solidifying the connection that we have with self. And I found that through my yoga practice, and, carrying into the tarot and astrology work that I do as well. Like, yoga, again, is my foundation. Before I record, before I'm working with a client, I'm going to get on my yoga mat and I am going to, stretch and find that place of balance and peace within. So my mission is, to see everybody shining, and to do my part in facilitating in whatever way I can in making that happen.
Yeah, you're awesome, Shayla. Can I ask you how old you are? I know you look very young. Am I going to be guessing this wrong if I say like you're in your early 20s?
No, you're spot on. I'm actually 23. 23.
23. Wow, and that's crazy. Do you mind telling people, because often we've all got a story of like what kind of woke us up into this path. Like maybe we was always heading off in a wrong direction, in a mainstream negative direction, and something happened. Do you mind telling us what was did you have a moment, or was it just you were always like that? Were you born and just like some people were born for it? Like, so what was your moment?
I was definitely more aware as a child than most children. And people always told me I was very, very mature. And I like to spend time alone as a child. I just felt like there were things that I was on this planet to figure out. So I would read books. You know, I didn't watch TV. I was totally the nerd. My nose was always in a book, trying to learn new things. And so I'm from North Platte, Nebraska, the middle of the United States. And my parents weren't very prone to travel, or we didn't get a lot of exposure to different cultures, my sisters and I. So from a very early age, I had this desire to see what was out there. Just had a very adventurous spirit. So after I graduated high school, everybody told me, my family, my friends, they were like, you need to stay in Nebraska. Like, it's just not going to work for you to leave the state. And I wanted to leave the state. So my hometown was about 4 hours away from Denver, Boulder area. And after visiting there a few times, I was like, whoa, this community is very evolved. There's, health conscious individuals everywhere. It just felt like a place that I really wanted to be. So that was kind of like the first leap of faith that I took in my life, was saying, you know what, I feel like I need to go out of the state. I need to leave the state and see what else is out there and make new connections with people. So when I did that, I was basically on my own. My parents were like, well, you made your choice. So good luck. Good luck in the real world. And
Right.
real world hit, real world hit really hard and really fast. And I didn't have financial support from my family. And I was like, wow, if I continue down this path, I'm going to be like $200,000 in debt in 4 years. So
Whoa.
I was seeking alternatives strongly. And I felt this calling. It was just this undeniable calling that I, again, came here to do something big. And I wanted to know what that was. So somebody recommended just randomly that I should check out Taos, New Mexico. And I was 18 at the time.
And Taos, Mexico.
Taos.
Oh,
Taos. Yes.
Taos. Okay. Taos, Mexico.
New Mexico. Still in the United States. Yes. And it was just kind of like okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to leave school. And I'm going to move, to another state. I'm going to be further away from my home and my family. And I didn't tell anybody about this. I just kind of did it because I knew people weren't going to understand. And I didn't fully understand what was going on at this point in my life. It's a pretty long story, but basically I get to Taos and I was introduced to veganism. I was introduced to, more holistic practices and techniques. I was introduced to off-grid living. And something that I was very passionate about was being of service to the earth. And when I was in Boulder, Colorado, I was taking a sustainability class, and it was like the most depressing class I've ever taken in my life, just hearing about all of the things that humans are doing to the earth. And I was like, I need to do something about this. I don't have time to sit in a classroom and wait. Like, things need to happen now. So in astrology, I'm a triple fire sign, so I have a lot of drive and motivation and ambition. But anyway, so moving to Taos was an opportunity for me to actually apply what I was learning in school, to get that like firsthand knowledge and experience. It wasn't all light and bright. It was actually, things turned pretty dark pretty fast. So I'm 18 at this point in Taos, and I was in an extremely abusive relationship on all levels. For almost 2 years. And, there were moments where I thought I was going to take my last breath more than once. And to be able to navigate out of situations where you think you're about to leave your body, it really proved to me my strength and showed me what I'm capable of. In that, you know, if I can overcome all of these challenges, somebody abusing me, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, if I can get out of that situation, what else can I do? And I also was like, why am I experiencing this? Why am I experiencing such traumatic experiences? And, you know, it took me some time to really understand everything that I went through. But basically, it was like, you went through this so you can assist other people in not having to traverse this path. You know, I can make other people's paths a little bit shorter and a little bit easier. So honestly, it took a lot. It took a lot to get to this point of feeling confident in myself, because I had so much adversity in my life, and people, you know, I'm the black sheep, as I'm sure you can relate to that.
Everyone watching is probably too.
Yeah. I love it. Found my tribe. Yeah, so people didn't understand, and I was just tested over and over again. How much do I believe in myself, and how much do I believe in my vision, and what am I going to sacrifice? And you know, it just became a no-brainer that I'm willing to do whatever it takes, you know, to be the person that I was destined to be. So yeah, it took a little while to integrate, and I spent a lot of time in the woods. After I got out of this relationship, I was like, I can't have a job. I don't want to be around people. I need to heal, and I need to find that sense of self, and again, figure out what I came here to do. And so I would go to the woods for, you know, a week, 2 weeks, come into town, see people, to shower. But in my mind, I was like, literally, I was on a mission. I'm like, I got to figure this out. I got to figure this out. And, you know, the universe will give to us. We'll deliver answers if we ask. And,
quickly, did you go in like a tent in the middle of nowhere in the woods by yourself and just didn't hang around anybody and try and figure out? Is that what you meant? Like off grid? Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Like just away from everyone. That's cool. Ballsy. Respect.
Yeah, and you know, as a single woman at the time, I'm like 18, 19 years old. People did think I was crazy.
Yes,
but I knew. Yeah, you know, and a part of me definitely was a little bit crazy. You know, just really.
I'd say very brave for a young girl to do. Anyone, even I can't even imagine myself at 18 doing that. So well done to you, man. There's a lot of bravery there. a lot of amazing things surely happened in that. Like just being by yourself in nature, trying to find yourself. Because I know to get lost in the woods is to really to find yourself. It's the only way to find yourself. Yeah. Because I know now. I've been that lifestyle for 5 months off grid, and it's fucking lonely at times, man. It really is. People have no idea.
Yes.
Like.
Yeah, it is. Well, actually, so I have been off grid all summer. I'm still up in house, but this time I have community. And that was kind of like a vision that I received when I was out in the woods, that, you know, humans, we need to be living closer with the natural world, but we also need each other, because it can be very, very lonely and isolating and desolate at times. You know, but again, I see those as opportunities for us to acknowledge shadow aspects of ourselves, you know, things that maybe we didn't want to look at. And truly our power is in our shadow. That's where our power and our strength come. And oftentimes, you know, those precious gems that spirit has given us are hidden in the shadow. And it takes us, you know, going through times where we feel like we're being broken down and this is rock bottom. I don't know if I can ever get up from here, to figure out who we are and to figure out, you know, what we're made of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. It's like rock bottom has led us to this point of, I don't think people that haven't reached rock bottom really know about life and living and consciousness and uprising like you have. And how old are you now, Shayla? You said 23, right? 23?
23.
So you're still really young, and I can't believe that you were 18 when you did all this, and you've been through so much, because I only really started my God's journey at 22. I'm 33 now, and yes, it's amazing when I hear people that are younger than me, and I can see that you're more advanced, and your gifts and masteries are completely different to mine as well, and I think it's just amazing to watch and to view, and I can see your power, man. I can see that you're a very powerful person, so it's amazing to connect. But what is, after your adventures in the woods, what did you learn about yourself, and did you take that step further and just continue your journey, or was that just a stopgap?
So it was it was a process. It was a process to fully feel like I could integrate back into society. Like you feel a little weird after you've kind of isolated yourself from the world for a little bit. Um, so um, one thing I did know when I was, in my inward space in the woods was that I had this draw and affinity for studying the stars and reading tarot. There was just something about it, something about tapping into like these more subtle aspects of life. And that was really one of the reasons as well to find myself, but as well to have the space to like cultivate and develop my skills and to practice reading cards, practice studying the stars. So I went out with books and I went out with my cards. And in that time, I taught myself how to read tarot. And I also, began my astrological studies. I've been studying astrology for about 5 years now. And it's like, there's just so much to learn. So I feel like I'm just barely dipping my toes in this incredible science. But I came to this point where I felt like it was time for me to, like, it was very clear. It's very clear. Like, okay, you've done the work now. You've done the healing. You've come to find these deeper truths about yourself. And now you have other skills. You have skills. You have things that you can actually bring to society and to begin to help people. So, it was a process again, but in the back of my mind, I was like, I want to launch a YouTube channel and I want to be inspiring people to live the best life that they can be. And I want to be sharing, what I learned in the middle of the woods. I want to be that link, that one that's really bringing the natural element back to humans and vice versa, bringing the humans in a respectful manner back to the natural world. So in that time, I noticed how powerful we are as humans, like how much impact we can actually make through our intentions. And in that time, my intention was to heal and was to find these answers. And finding the answers was like winning the lottery. Like I had no desire for money at that point in time. I wanted to know. I wanted to know what is this about and why am I here? And yeah, the message was really clear. Like you came here to help other people. So I did some travel, stayed with some friends on and off, I was just living very nomadically, like trying to find my place still. And I decided that I was going to go back to Nebraska. That's where my family is, where I'm from. And I was going to actually put something together. I was going to organize, and like organize everything that I had been through and start a business, because that's something I've always wanted to do, is be financially independent. And I feel like it's a part of the path of being entirely sustainable beings, is having the ability to generate our own revenue, generate our own money. And what is money? Money is really just a storage of energy, a stockpile of energy that we can turn to then go out and purchase certain things in this world. So that started my journey of wanting to kind of bring this more spiritual aspect into the business realm as well. So yeah, that was kind of like the motivation for launching Lion Essence, which is my YouTube channel. Yeah, it was like, a way to kind of integrate and to bring myself back into society, but also to share with people, and again, to empower people to be living their truths.
I love that. So you found very early on that you had all this information, knowledge from what you'd been through and discovered about your shadow and yourself, and you want to share it with people. And you also discovered very early on, very smart, that you need to be financially independent, because that's the energy exchange that we work with currently. It's not ideal. We want to give value freely in our masteries, but that's what we work with in this reality now. So you was like, okay, I need to survive on myself. I need to make some money. I want to give value on YouTube and other platforms. We're now engaging on Instagram. We're both on Facebook. We're using social media. You're using social media technology wisely, and you want to have influence. And you figured out that, hey, how do you have influence with people that aren't around you necessarily at the same level that can learn from you? Social media is the one. So you figured out very early on, which is super, super cool. I do have a few questions for you. Like, I know you're really big into yoga and all this stuff. How did you, do you do that as a daily practice? Do you recommend for anyone to do yoga? I love yoga, man. When I don't do it, I regret not doing it. And when I do it, I feel so centered and balanced. For me, it rebalances my brain, takes me back into my version of center, off the wonky state into the center. I love it. makes me feel calm and peaceful. So how did you discover yoga, and do you practice daily? I've seen your videos, they're amazing. People should follow her on Instagram. If you know me and you don't know Shayla, add her after this on Instagram and look out her videos, and she's amazing. But how did you discover it?
That's a great question. So I was 17 years old, and actually I'm going to take this a step further back. So 14 to 15 years old, I started to develop really terrible stomach issues. And I went to the doctors, they had no answers, nothing. So I felt like hopeless in that sense, like, oh my gosh, I can't digest anything without feeling some very excruciating pain. So I took matters into my own hands once again, and I started doing research, and I started to learn about the benefits of fruit and eating more vegetables. And I grew up in middle America, again, Nebraska, where, you know, most people are eating potatoes and corn and steak for dinner and lunch, and, you know, sugary cereal for breakfast. So there was organic food. It was just unheard of when I was growing up. So sorry, I just got distracted. Okay, health journey, yoga, 15.
And diet too. You touched base on diet too. You discovered the vegetables, fruits and vegetables, and everyone around you is just eating shit, which I totally agree. It's the same everywhere. Everyone's eating shit around us.
Yeah. And so I noticed immediately, like, a change in physicality, a change in the pain levels. Is, you know, I noticed my energy levels increasing as well. But in this time period, it was my ex-partner at the time. His mom was a yoga teacher, and she kind of was like acting as a guide for me. She introduced me to essential oils. You know, she had a like pink Himalayan sea salt lamp in her house, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever, because I'd never seen anything like it before. And so she invited me to a yoga class when I was 17, and I was like, yeah, this sounds really great, because at this time I was really into you know, again, watching my diet, watching what I was eating, but as well physical fitness. I was really like to push what I have the capability to do with my physical body. So when I took my first yoga class, I was astounded. It was like everything that I had ever asked for in a physical practice. I always had this, like, I just was really drawn to like calisthenics and like the idea of not having to go to the gym, so to say, to like work out. You know, the idea of just having a mat, just having myself, and you know, doing these poses and these exercises. This sounds great. So first, it was really the physical aspect that drew me. You know, I noticed myself become more flexible very, very, very fast, and I was like the most inflexible child growing up. So like yeah, which is it's the opposite now. Like, my family looks at me like I'm crazy. Like, how did that transition happen?
Yeah, could imagine.
yeah, and really just practice. Yeah, so over time I started to notice the benefits that yoga brought to my mind. And I was, you know, 17, 18 at that time, you know, thinking about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And yeah, I mean, those times can be stressful for all of us when we're having to, or when we're being thrown into the real world, so to say. So that was kind of like the start of my yoga journey. And then when I came out to Taos, you know, it wasn't very consistent, my practice, but I wanted it to be. There was always this desire to really dive deeper into yoga. And it was when I came out to the desert, I went full-blown vegan, and that decision right there is really what like amplified my yoga practice. It was like things just started to make sense. Much more clarity. My body was functioning a lot better. You know, things just started to make sense for me. And so again, yoga became like my yoga mat became like my sanctuary. That was my safe space when I was going through very difficult, abusive times. And so it was like the one thing that I had in my life that I knew could bring me a state of peace, regardless what was going on around. So, yeah, you know, when I came back into myself, got out of the relationship, and was really focusing on me, I really took that deep plunge into my yoga journey. And there were days where it was like yoga at, you know, 7 a.m. to 8:30. Then we're going to do another class at noon to 1:30, like another class in the evening, 7:30 to 9, whatever. Just
3 times a day yoga. Oh, that's dedication.
Yeah.
3 times a day.
Yes.
Cool.
And it wasn't like I had to force myself to do it either. It was like, I want to understand this
Mm,
science. I want to, really feel what's going on in my body when I'm in downward facing dog, or when, I'm standing on my head. So again,
mm,
I have the skill set and the knowledge plus the experience to then help other people. I noticed really, really fast how beneficial it was for me and my overall health and well-being. And,
mm,
it became very clear and evident that I also wanted to share that. So very similar to astrology and tarot, like
mm.
strong desire to learn in order to then pass along and to teach and to assist other people.
Yeah, I like that. It's not even about yourself necessarily. You do it because you feel good, and primarily it is. But then, of course, once you've learned the knowledge, you want to give that gift of its centeredness and the peace of mind that comes from yoga back to other people. And yes, I admire everyone that does yoga. It doesn't matter what stage, but of course, the ones that I look up to the most are the ones that are way above me, and like yourself. And I can see you do these poses, and do you know what? They look impressive, and I love it because it just shows the power of the human body when humans can do these impressive poses like you do with such balance. And do you know what? If you don't know yoga, I reckon a lot of people think it just looks easy. Not people watching this, but just the mainstream. They go, oh yeah, that looks easy. Oh, stand up, so I do this and put my legs down. And like when you do it, you're like, fuck, no, this is not easy shit. It's really hard. Like super hard to do. It takes practice and dedication.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It's so worth
Mm,
it though. Yeah. And it's like uh, the ability to move in very unconventional ways with the physical body is translated mentally as the ability to then, tap into these higher states of consciousness and to perceive reality from higher viewpoint, really.
yeah.
So yeah.
Definitely. And do you teach yoga? And another question too, do you recommend people do yoga, say they don't have the money to do a course with you or other people? Do you recommend they learn by themselves, or is that the wrong thing to do from your opinion for people?
I would say that's really going to depend on the personality. Like myself, everything that I learned, like I have no actual credentials when it comes to yoga. Everything that I've learned has been through self practice. So
Wow.
if you have,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's amazing.
if if you have that drive and that willpower, but also the ability to objectify, to be your own teacher while you're being the student, then I'm going to say yes.
Mm,
Go for it, go for it, go for it. But it takes a certain level of awareness, because you could hurt
mm,
yourself. There's always that potential. So I recommend people like start. I think that what really like shifted things for me was reading out like how to actually do the asanas, like reading the almost like
mm.
the direction, so to say. And
Yeah.
then when I'm on the mat,
Mm,
taking a moment to reflect back on what I read. And then it's like
mm.
when you have the words in your mind, the body is naturally going to want to sync up with what the mind is thinking and vice
Yeah.
versa. And
Wow.
so it's there's kind of a way for you to find this place of being in sync and finding your balance all by
Mm,
yourself. But again,
mm,
it does take work, and practice.
mm.
Um, so yeah, I would say it really depends on the person, but I do teach yoga, not formally. It's not for money. It's more so just like wanting to give. So I'm always
Yeah.
open to people reaching out if you have any questions or need help with anything in particular. Um,
Mm,
yeah, but I say, like, if you're just starting your yoga journey, you
mm.
definitely don't want to overdo it. That is key. That is key. That is key. Not to overwhelm the body, the physical body, the emotional body, the spiritual body.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That can get out of hand and can almost be counterproductive. So it's important
I've
to
been
be
there.
really,
I've been there.
yeah,
Yes, I'm support, and I have done myself a few things. 'Cause I'm a guy, and I guess guys do extreme things. Not that girls don't, but I just like my personality. I'm extreme sometimes. I've toned it down, but I've hurt myself. Not seriously, but I've definitely hurt myself doing yoga. So that's good advice. Don't go too much too fast. Like,
yeah,
but,
and compassion for yourself and acceptance
mm,
for where you are. Um, I know from experience that if I have, taken a break from the mat for a little while,
mm,
obviously I'm going to get a little bit more stiff and I'm not going to be able to do as much as I would be able to if I was very active and persistent in my practice. And it's very easy to fall in that trap of why am I here and not there? Why I used to be there, but I'm here now. And so it's a constant practice of being able to accept who you are entirely, you know, all the beautiful aspects, but as well as the flaws and maybe the things that you want to work on and you want to progress. But the only way that next step, that next level is going to happen is through acceptance of where we currently are. So that was a big part of my journey.
I love what you said. I've got another question to do with yoga. So I found, and I've read in books too, that in the morning I just can't flex as much as soon as I get up and do yoga compared to the evening, and especially nighttime. I'm wondering if you know why it is that the body just what happens in the morning is I've got more willpower, so I've got more willpower and motivation to do it in the mornings, but I can't flex for shit doing the same poses. Yet at nighttime I've got less willpower, but then I've got more flexibility. I don't know if that's tied in with food or a time of day, but there's something going on there. Do you know what that is? Does anyone know what that is? Or is it just me? Am I making this up? It's just unique to me.
No. I've actually asked myself that, like, literally same dynamic. I think that sleep has a lot to do with it. You know, because you're waking up from 6, 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep where your body is, you know, staying in very similar postures. I also feel the most motivated in the morning to do yoga. So I like to do yoga, like, sometimes it's pretty frequently throughout the day, but I like to give myself that space for my body to wake up. And I think that that's a really important aspect of a morning practice is, you know, acknowledging that you've been asleep for a little while and your mind might be ready to go, but your body needs a second to really wake up and to adjust as your consciousness, you know, is coming back into your body after exploring in dream world at nighttime. Yeah, and then so in the evening time, the mind might be a little more tired because it's had to, you know, think or solve problems or do work or communicate a lot, interact, and the body has finally warmed up and woke up a little bit, and the body's like, all right.
That makes sense, because the willpower thing, I know there's like a meter where you get full charge after sleep of willpower, and then it just drains towards the end of the evening. So in other words, it links to a self-improvement too. If you're going to do something you need to do the next day, always do it in the mornings when your willpower is high. Don't leave it to the last minute, because then you'll have less willpower. So, and also it makes sense what you said too. The body's moved around a little bit after sleep and staying prone still for like hours on end, so it's less flexible. And as you move in the daytime, it's good to do nighttime. So there's like great advantages to doing it. In other words, what we're saying is there's a great advantage of doing it any time of day, right? Yoga, as long as you don't do it on a full stomach, I believe. I do not like doing it on a full stomach, but any other time is good for any time is good for yoga time apart from that, I feel.
I agree. Any time is good for yoga time, except on a full stomach. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So can we transition a little bit to you said about I think you're a vegan. So talk to us a little bit about, I think you have already, but just touch base again on why you're vegan and why you found why you believe that is more beneficial to your yoga, more beneficial to your happiness and health, and why other people should be vegan too.
I love this question. Well, first of all, I was seeking answers to some what the doctor said were undescribable digestive issues, and I just wasn't taking that for an answer. So yeah, I was very open and receptive to what you know, the guidance that Spirit had brought to me. Somebody had, when I first moved out here, it was like huge awakening time for me coming out to the desert. But somebody was talking to me about the environmental impact of raising cows, you know, and really just started talking to me more about the like, not the health related reasons for being vegan, but more so the environmental and also the moral and ethical values of not eating animals and keeping animals out of the body. And I mean, like, when you think about it, you are what you eat. We all know this. And when we're putting dead flesh in our body, this is like dead matter. It's dead energy, and it's very dense, and it takes a while for the body to process. So when we're talking about, you know, ascension and spirituality and you know, being able to step into our light bodies, we don't want this dense energy in our field for us to have to deal with and have to almost like cope with. So that was huge. Like, I don't want anything dead in me. I want to be feeding myself life, living plants, living plants. And I mean, that's what made me feel the best as well. But then, you know, somebody was like, well, you know, you're killing an animal, and that animal is a sentient being. And being born and raised in Nebraska, I didn't think too much about it. You know, the cows were just cows. And that has completely shifted. Like, I will go and visit the cows in Nebraska or send them love and Reiki from afar
Nice.
when I see them, because they're sentient beings. You know, they feel, they have emotions. There's a consciousness inside of that animal. And when the animal's killed, whatever emotion, whatever frequency that animal was emitting is going to stay in that food. And some people will say, like, yeah, well, that's why I bless the food. And I think that works to a certain extent, but it's almost like saying, well, I murdered somebody, and so I'm going to bless their body, and it's going to be great.
That's
And
one way
it's
of
going
putting
to
it.
be fun.
That's a good take on that. That's a good answer back in. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. So it really just became a no-brainer. You know, the methane that are emitted from cows, it's you know, causing more destruction to the environment than the cars, that all the millions of cars that are on the planet. And as well, out here in the desert. So I'm actually on grid in my house right now, but most of the properties around here are off grid. And the land is full of sage. It's just sage, sagebrush.
Sage. Wow. That's
Sage.
amazing.
We actually
Yeah.
we make
Huh.
these sage bundles, so I'll show you guys from all the sage because there's an
Oh,
abundance of
cool.
it.
Yeah.
Um, anyways, so the sage is actually an invasive species, and it wasn't like this. But what happened in like the 1700s is cattle ranchers came out here with their cattle, and the cattle ate everything, and you know, just grazed and basically destroyed all of, or took away all of the plant life out here. And what came up in its place was sage. And so now it's all sage in the soil. That the topsoil has degraded. And it's a very interesting place to try to grow food, but we're pioneering, and we're totally doing it. But that was another thing too. I'm like, wow, I'm looking at this land that once used to be forest, that once used to be covered with trees and vegetation, and because we brought the cattle through, like now all that is here is sagebrush. So yeah, it just brought in a different perspective. Like, why I began to question, why are we doing what we're doing? You know, why have we been told that it's beneficial to eat meat and to eat animal flesh? I don't understand. And so yeah, I mean, as any vegan probably faces, there's always that opposition and the backlash from friends and family, and people who don't want to change. And you know, I think that for all of us, that's an opportunity to again stand in our truth and to be that voice for the voiceless, you know, to stand up for the fact that every sentient being deserves an opportunity to live, deserves an opportunity to experience a beautiful, bountiful life. Because at the end of the day, we were all created in the image of God, Goddess, Creator, and
Right.
we are all deserving and worthy of abundance and, you know, achieving and being whatever we want to be. But in order for us to be our best selves, we need to be fueling our body, you know, with high vibrational food. Um,
Mm.
so that's a little bit of my vegan story.
That's 100% agree with you. High frequency foods, I mean, it's like a density issue too, like fruits and vegetables. It's hard for anyone here to argue is like a high dense food. It digests really quickly. Of course, fruits and vegetables have loads of water in them too, and it's not just any water, it's really special distilled structured water because it's been outgrown in the sunlight. So my God, there's a lot of factors going for why fruits and vegetables seem to have healed you and seem to heal many people. And I find it a bit strange when people say that it hasn't worked for them. Well, not a bit strange. I find it like maybe for some people it might be, they might have issues, but for most people, fruits and vegetables, wow, they do a holy wonder when they commit to the process of, like, say, just eating fruits and vegetables and not trying too much else. I think it's wonderful. And yeah, I think diet is a huge part of spiritual awakening. Also, another thing to do that is most religions are in the basis of against meat too, and that's going back to ancient history. So you know that there's a lot going for veganism, and I do think it's a great way to be healthy. There's many ways, of course. So yeah, thanks for saying that. Do you want to touch base too on tarot reading? Because I'm curious about this one. I don't know much about tarot reading, if I'm being honest. How did you get into that, and does it predict your future? And I think you're quite good at it. Do you do readings, tarot readings for people? Tell us about it, a bit about it. I'm going to learn here.
Cool. Well, you can predict your future. That's definitely a part of it. But I like to use it in a different way. Tarot for me is a tool to, you know, help not only myself but everybody connect to their intuition. So basically, yes, I do give readings to people. That is what I do with Lioness. And so I have on YouTube, I will give monthly, I call them energy forecasts, where we're basically just like tapping in and seeing what's going on around you on an energetic level. And again, it's an opportunity for you to tap into your intuition, to ask yourself, wow, is this happening in my life? Because YouTube, they're general readings. So I'm reading for more than, just a few people. It's usually a couple hundred, sometimes thousands of people in one reading. So it's an opportunity to tap in, and feel what resonates. It's like we're awakening to our sixth sense. We're awakening the intuition. We're bringing this divine feminine aspect of all of us into this reality. It's kind of like the grounding of divine feminine. It's really, really exciting. So yes, you can use tarot to predict your future. But I use it as a tool to just like bring light, bring clarity on what's going on in regards to the energy realm. And it's also a way to like tap into, maybe previous situations. If you experience something and you're like, I have no clue why this event happened or why this person treated me like that, we can actually tap in and we can pull some cards. And so tarot is really awesome. It's a science, and basically it's like very similar to the law of attraction. Like whatever energy is around you, that energy is going to attract the card that has this similar vibrational frequency, So that's kind of how it works. And there's a lot of controversy with tarot and where it originated from. In like the 1800s in European society, it was like banned, and it was only people said that it was only a playing game. It's only a card game that the elitists, that the rich played. And over time, Rider Waite, I believe he created what is like the modern tarot deck. Looks very similar to this. He created his modern deck in I believe it was the early 1900s, and that really kind of launched tarot. And he gave the modern folk an opportunity to kind of dive into this science. So, yeah, did that answer your question? I feel like
kind of like it doesn't just tell the future. It's about your life path. And I was going to be cheeky there and say, what does it tell you about COVID? Does the tarot predict all those kind of future events, or is it personality of people, or is it events as well that can read tarot? I don't even know.
All of the above. And more so, like COVID, this COVID thing, or this COVID pandemic. There were astrologers who actually had predicted that this was going to happen through the conjunction of certain planets. And so I find oftentimes that the energy that is, coming from the planetary bodies is very influential on, what cards show up or how that, what the reading looks like and such. But I have actually asked the tarot, I've asked the cards about COVID, because I've had a lot of people ask me, like, what's going on? What do we do? And I...
Tell us some good news.
Yeah,
no, it's great. Tell us great news. Okay.
It's great news. No, it's so good. Really, this is an opportunity for us to go within. Like 2020 has been this time of introspection where we've all been, asked to, or not even asked, we've been forced to kind of go within. And I do see this as almost like divine intervention. Like humanity was not going down a very good path. Okay, we all saw this, and that something needed to change, and that change in our physical environment is only going to come through changing ourselves within. So if we take this as an opportunity to get closer to ourselves and to figure out who we are and what we want to do, quite literally the ground is being cleared, and we're being given an opportunity to create a new earth. And this ties into what's really happening is we're seeing old society, the old way of doing things, falling by the wayside, and we're going to have to embrace more sustainable, more eco-friendly practices, compassionate practices, and ways of being and ways of living if we are to survive as a human species. And it's pretty intense, but to be quite honest, things look really bright. And I also want to note that there is a conjunction on the 21st of December with Saturn and Jupiter.
Yeah. That's next Monday. Nearly a week away. A week, 2 days, a week and a day. Yes. Yeah, I'm excited. I think something's good's going to happen on that day. Some kind of,
I
yeah, I'm mega excited.
I think so too. I think so
Mm,
too. And yeah, yesterday was the 12/12 portal. So it was an opportunity to shed some deeper layers, some deeper maybe tightly gripped trauma or pain, and to
mm,
allow this activation of the light body come through. So we're really living in revolutionary times right now, and it's quite extraordinary to be alive on the planet. And yeah, again, I see tarot and I see astrology as these tools that we have. They tools to help us along our path, and to bring us back into this place of centeredness. And I think it's really important to note that that's simply what they are. They're just tools.
mm.
And for me, that's what yoga and veganism, all of these things, they're tools. They're things that have helped me find myself. But at the end of the day, it's me that's taken that initiative to find myself. So in finding self, we find all of life, and we find our connection to our creator. So I just think that's important to note, that it's you
Yeah,
doing the work.
exactly.
Yep.
Well said, my friend. I'm super excited for next Monday. I have another personal question. You don't have to answer this one. Do you do urine therapy? What
I
sidebar you
have.
with that question? You have. Okay, tell us more. Have you
Yeah.
really? Go.
Um, yeah, a few times. I think I was in Boulder, Colorado in 2017 when I did it for the first time. And I'm just a very spontaneous person at times. So somebody was like, "Hey, have you heard of urine therapy? You just drink your pee." And I was like, "What?" I'm going to go try
Yeah.
this. And
Mm.
so I did. I tried it. So I haven't done it extensively, no, but I know that you're a huge advocate for urine therapy.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just happy
So
you tried it, my friend. I'm just happy when people try. I'm like, yes, it's great. Mm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Before we go though, I'd like to give you an opportunity to, because I think we touch base with a lot of things you do, but not everything we can't, because I know there's limits to these interviews too for an hour. So before we go, is there something that I haven't asked you that you really want to get off your chest, or any last messages for people that's really important this time that you're going through and learning?
Um, I think that one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my life, and that I am continuously learning, and I've spoken about this in many different ways, is the power of believing
Mm,
in oneself, and when you're faced with some sort of difficult circumstance where it's either I have to really step it up or I back down, I encourage you to step it up, and to take those leaps outside of your comfort zone and really test the boundaries of what you can do in your own life. Because
mm,
I think that we're moving into quite extraordinary times, and it is us, it is you, it's me, it's the people viewing now, and the people who are going to view this after it's been published, who are making this change. Yeah, so if I could leave you with one thing, it's that you really do have the ability to make an impact, and you do have the ability to live whatever life you desire to live. Whatever that dream or that vision is, you can make it come true. It's going to take a little bit of work and elbow grease and faith and determination and perseverance, but impossible is not a word that's going to be brought with us into this new era.
I
So
love that. Mm.
explore and enjoy, and yeah, I'm excited to see what comes.
I love that. And just quickly as well, my tattoo, my one and only tattoo I've got reads, "Only those that can see the invisible can do the impossible." And that's true. If you can see the invisible, you can fucking do the impossible. And there's no such thing as impossible if you can see it. So that's crazy. And I want to honor you too, Shayla, because you're a very young person that's incredibly inspiring, and you've been through a lot. And it now makes more sense how you become a powerful person. Now I know, okay, she just went hiding in the woods for like weeks on end to kind of learn about herself at 18 years old. Like this crazy, beautiful girl just goes off in the woods and becomes like a jungle wild girl. And like it makes a lot of sense. And you should be very proud of yourself and what you've done. Again, before you go, can you tell people your channels where people can find you in case they want to contact you for yoga, tarot reading, or anything? So I'd love more people to know about your stuff. So
Yes, thank you. So you guys can find me on YouTube. My name is Lionessence Tarot and Astrology. And then if you'd like to email me, or just like literally you can reach out about anything, I'm totally open. My email is lionessence, LIONESSENCE SHAYLA @gmail.com. And you guys can also find me on Facebook if you want. And it's just my name, Shayla Kumar. Shayla, and then last name Kumar, Kummer.
cool. Awesome. Thank you so much, Shayla, for being with us today. Thank you, everyone, for watching. This was Holistic Health Harry with Shayla Kumar. And Shayla, we'll probably see each other more in the future. I look forward to working with you too. So it's going to be amazing.
Yes.
And thanks, everyone. And yes, a happy Christmas and New Year. And have an amazing one. And everyone, look forward to December 21st. Can't wait for that. It's going to be super exciting,
December
guys.
21st. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks so much,
All right,
Harry.
Shayla. Thank
Yes,
you,
we'll
Shayla.
talk
Thank you
soon.
so much. Yeah,
Yeah,
bye, man.
thanks.
Bye.